What is going on, people? I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys a quick review or impression of this 2024 KTM 500 EXC-F on city streets and freeway. Just gonna be a quick little short ride. I really haven't put this into some of my previous reviews, so I figure I better chime in on it. So the first thing I think of, and actually this was, I would say, my very first impression of this bike, as far as once I started it, got on it and rode it, is, man, this bike vibrates a lot. I mean, it was the first thing I noticed coming off of a Japanese bike. The dual sport that I had before this was the 2019 CRF 250L, and I also got a 2008 Kawasaki Versus 650 that I ride, and both of those bikes were smooth. And this bike, holy crap, it vibrates. But that's a known thing. That's not just me. A lot of people know that, and I haven't done anything to reduce vibration, but I mean, you can feel it, man. It makes my nose itch. It vibrates so much. I'm like constantly scratching my nose as I ride this bike because it resonates through your entire body. You feel it in your feet, your legs, your butt, your arms, your head. You feel it in everything. So, you know, that's a downside to these bikes, but whatever. But aside from that, I do need to point out I still got the stock gearing, 1448, which, you know, that'll come up again here in a minute. But as far as riding this bike around on like city streets, I'm just cruising right now, not trying to race this guy or anything. He's actually speeding. But this bike is fine on city streets. And as far as I'm concerned, I actually like riding dual sports in city streets because I just enjoy the agility, the upright seating position. I really like riding a dual sport on the city streets. I feel like it just makes things really competent and spry, and I could just do what I want to do, you know. So city streets, no problem. Like I could rip off. And this bike, you know, these 500s, they really open up around half throttle, right in the mid range, and it'll pull hard. So if you want to, you know, maneuver through traffic, make passes, things like that, it's a breeze. Like I'm barely even just going like quarter throttle right now, just rolling through the gears. That's normally how I just drive when I'm just commuting. But if you want to frickin' get on it, it'll rip. But let's not press our luck here too much. So yeah, city streets I think is fine. Even with the 1448 gearing, you can see as you get on it, man, it'll go. I have tuned this bike. I do have the Athena Get SX1 on it now, but I'm not gonna go into that too much. I'm getting ready to do my riding impressions of that ECU, to do a follow-up on my stock riding impression video I did. But I think that's gonna end up being several parts, just because there's really a lot to cover, and you got to do a lot of different types of terrain, all that. So let me get up here to the Freeway. I'm gonna do a little quick jaunt on the freeway and say what I think about it there. But before I get there, I guess the first thing I really can already say on that, and those of you who ride dual sports already know this, but you know, dual sports are just not good freeway and highway bikes. They're just not. And of course, they can go on the freeway, they can go on the highway, depending on which bike you have. Some are better than others. These 500s are, in terms of their ability to go fast, are better than, you know, the smaller bikes. But my thoughts on this, you know, I've got about over 1,000 miles on this bike now, and I've been thinking about it every time I get on the freeway and the highway. I'm like, you know, this thing, I really don't like being on those faster sections for long time, for long periods. It's just not enjoyable. And a lot of people, when they talk about that, they're talking about like the comfort of the bike, you know, the seat, your upright position, the weight, you know, getting blown around by the wind and buffeting and all that. And all that's true and always will be for these dual sports. But, you know, the thing that bothers me, especially with the stock gearing, is just how revved out you get. Like, I really don't like being revved out. I like to just be like in the tall gear and just just cruising on the highway. I don't want to sit there and be, you know, half throttle, 3/4 of a throttle, just revving the bike for 50, 100, 200 miles. Yeah, right. That's not what these bikes are for. And like I say, it's not even about, you know, being comfortable sitting on it. It's just, that's not what you want to do to these engines, you know. It's not what they're for. So some might say, well, re-gear it. Well, I mean, it kind of defeats the purpose, especially on these KTMs and the other, you know, high performance dual sports. These bikes, this is a dirt bike, like it's an enduro bike, you know, as far as a lot of people are concerned, and the way that KTM sells them and markets them, they're enduro bikes. That's what they are. So if you're gonna buy one just to road bias it, it's kind of a weird thing. I mean, do what you want, but it's just kind of a weird thing to do. You're gonna buy one of the most off-road oriented dual sports and then start making these changes to make it a road bike. It's just kind of a weird thing. For me, this is just not what I'm gonna do. I actually kind of like the stock gearing, because I thought about it as I get to those faster sections. I'm like, maybe I could, you know, go down a couple teeth in the rear, or try the 15 tooth in the front. And I'm just like, you know what, screw that. This gearing actually does pretty good off-road. If anything, I should gear it shorter and make it more off-road worthy for the slow sections. Though, as I've mentioned before in some of my other videos, you know, this thing just does great lugging. Like, I don't even think I'm going quite quarter throttle. It just, you could just pull right through the gears, 1st to 6th, never even braking quarter throttle, and just cruise around city streets, keeping your fuel economy decent. And then whenever you need to, you can grip it and rip it. So I think that helps. But, you know, as I already mentioned, there's no issue with it on the city streets. You know, if you're 50 miles per hour and under, no big deal. Now I can jump on the freeway real quick. This is actually an interstate, the I-15. But I guess it's kind of freeway-ish still, because I'm not quite out of the city at this point. Not a lot of traffic this time of morning though, so I can kind of just do what I do and not have to factor any of that in there. Like, I could just pull this guy like nothing. But here's the thing, he's going to be passing me here in a second, because I'm not going to sustain 80 miles per hour. Like, I'm already going 67. I don't know where I'm at throttle wise, maybe halfway, somewhere around there. So here's the thing on freeway highway with this 1448 gearing. Like I say, I'm probably somewhere around half throttle, going 65 miles per hour. So you might think, oh well, you got plenty of balls left. Well, yeah, this bike will go about 100 miles per hour on this stretch of road right here with the stock gearing. And that's all fine and good, but for me, you know, because as you can see, I'm getting enough wind that the bike is kind of, you know, pulling back and forth. I don't have steering stabilizer, nothing like that. But it's not just the wind. You know, that obviously that's something that will wear on you over time. And again, that's any dual sport you're gonna have that issue with. But I don't like being revved out like that. So for me, I like cruising this bike on the highway or freeway somewhere between, you know, 50 to 65 miles per hour. I think even 65 for sustained periods kind of just gets annoying. The bike's buzzing a lot. You just feel like you're revved out. You're gonna start sucking your gas down. It's not ideal with this bike in the stock form. And again, you know, why buy a high performance dirt bike dual sport and then try to make it super highway worthy? It's just a little bit goofy of a thing to do, in my opinion. I would rather keep this bike as dirt capable as possible. So that's my take on it. City streets, fine, no issue. Even in stock form, you cruise around city streets like nothing. Freeway, highway, yep, you can do it as much as you can tolerate. But I like this bike going about 50-55 miles per hour. I think that's the sweet spot if you're going to be cruising highway and freeway. And when you're on twisty roads, you will notice it even less. But obviously when you get on these long straight stretches, you start to just get a little restless cruising at those speeds, or above those speeds rather. And for those of you who have been with the channel, you probably already know there's more reviews coming. I gotta double down on this Athena Get SX1 and do some follow-ups to the stock testing I was going to do. There's already some things I've noticed right off the bat, and I think that'll be helpful for those of you who are on the fence about getting one of these bikes and or tuning it. And for those of you that haven't been with the channel or seeing this video for the first time coming across my channel, I have been doing some reviews of the bike, so if you're interested in some of my stock impressions with it, I've got some fuel consumption testing and some riding impressions, and I'll just be continuing to release stuff on this bike. So anyone that's watching these videos, if you got questions, comments, you know what to do, put them in there. I'm open to input. I'm open to try things within reason, so if I forget something or overlooked, hit me up in the comments and see if I can give you an answer or do a follow-up video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.